They said she hesitated, overcalculated, wasn't made for real combat. But in the chaos of the dogfight, when the radar failed and the warning came too late, she didn't blink. She dove, rolled, cut the throttle, and watched the missile miss by inches. Back at base, no one called her cautious again. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If you enjoy stories that reveal how careful thinking becomes decisive action under pressure, consider subscribing for more content that explores how the methodical ones often make the difference when everything falls apart. The morning sun cast long shadows across the flight line at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, where the pre-dawn silence was broken by the distinctive whine of F-16 Fighting Falcon engines being prepared for what the mission briefing had designated as Red Flag Exercise 23-4, Advanced Air-to-Air Combat Training. At 0530 hours on a clear Tuesday in September, the atmosphere carried the weight of realistic combat simulation that would test every aspect of fighter pilot capability against simulated enemy forces using the most advanced tactics and electronic warfare systems in the world. Captain Maria Santos stood quietly beside her aircraft, conducting the methodical pre-flight inspection that had become her trademark during 18 months as a fighter pilot in the 64th Aggressor Squadron. At 27, she appeared focused and professional compared to the other pilots in her squadron. Pilots whose aggressive confidence and natural flying instincts had earned them recognition as some of the Air Force's most talented combat aviators, but who had also developed reservations about Maria's systematic approach to tactical aviation. Around her, the pre-mission atmosphere buzzed with the kind of competitive energy that characterized advanced fighter training, where pilots competed not just against simulated enemies, but against each other for recognition as the most capable combat aviators in the world's most sophisticated Air Force. The Red Flag exercises represented the pinnacle of realistic combat training, with scenarios designed to replicate the most challenging air-to-air combat situations that pilots might face in actual warfare. Santos called out Major Jake Morrison, the squadron's operations officer whose aggressive flying style and natural combat instincts had made him a legend among fighter pilots. You've been going over that pre-flight checklist for 20 minutes. The airplane's not going to get any more airworthy just because you stare at it longer. Maria looked up from her inspection of the aircraft's electronic warfare systems, offering a professional smile that didn't engage with the implied criticism. Just making sure everything's operating within parameters, Major. Better to catch problems on the ground than discover them during combat maneuvering. The exchange drew knowing looks from nearby pilots who had observed Maria's cautious approach to tactical aviation throughout her assignment to the aggressor squadron. Her technical competence was unquestioned, her academic performance had been exceptional, but her methodical decision-making style seemed inconsistent with the split-second tactical thinking that characterized successful fighter pilots. Lieutenant Colonel David Chun, the squadron commander whose own combat experience included air-to-air victories during operations in the Middle East, approached Maria's aircraft with the confident bearing of someone who had proven himself under actual combat conditions. His evaluation of pilot performance reflected years of experience distinguishing between aviators who could execute complex maneuvers and those who possessed the aggressive instincts necessary for success in air-to-air combat. Santos, Chin said, reviewing the mission planning materials that would govern the day's training scenario. Today's exercise includes multiple threat systems and electronic warfare environments that will test every aspect of combat flying. You're assigned as number 4 in the formation, supporting the lead element during engagement with simulated enemy aircraft. Maria nodded, accepting the assignment that reflected her position as the newest and least experienced pilot in a squadron of combat veterans. Understood, sir. I've reviewed the threat briefings and prepared tactical responses for the scenarios we're likely to encounter. Chin studied her with the calculating assessment of a commander who understood that pilot performance under simulated combat conditions often predicted effectiveness during actual warfare. Santos, I know you're thorough in your preparation, but air-to-air combat requires instantaneous tactical decisions based on rapidly changing conditions. You can't hesitate when missiles are in the air. Roger that, sir. I understand the operational tempo requirements. What Chin didn't fully understand, what Maria had never emphasized during squadron discussions, was that her methodical approach to tactical aviation reflected systematic training in threat analysis and defensive maneuvering that had been developed during advanced flight training programs focused on survivability rather than aggressive engagement tactics. Her cautious decision-making style represented comprehensive preparation for complex tactical scenarios rather than hesitation based on inexperience. Master Sergeant Rodriguez, the crew chief responsible for aircraft maintenance and pre-flight preparation, approached Maria with final systems checks and weapons loading confirmation that would complete her aircraft preparation for the demanding training mission ahead. Captain Santos, your aircraft is fully mission-capable with all electronic warfare systems operational and air-to-air missiles loaded per mission requirements. Rodriguez reported with the professional competence that characterized the maintenance personnel responsible for keeping complex fighter aircraft ready for the most demanding tactical training in the world. Thank you, Sergeant Rodriguez. Any maintenance issues or system anomalies I should be aware of? Rodriguez's expression reflected years of experience maintaining fighter aircraft under conditions that tested every component to its operational limits. Ma'am, your radar warning receiver has been intermittent during recent flights. It's within acceptable parameters, but you might experience brief signal dropout during electronic warfare scenarios. Maria made detailed notes about the radar warning receiver issue, understanding that electronic warfare environments during red flag exercises included jamming and deception techniques that could compromise aircraft systems in ways that simulated realistic combat conditions. Her systematic approach to potential problems reflected preparation for tactical complications that less methodical pilots might not consider. At exactly 0630 hours, the red flag mission began with 4 F-16s from the 64th Aggressor Squadron launching into the Nevada dawn. Their afterburners creating thunderous roars that echoed across the desert as they climbed toward the training airspace, where they would engage simulated enemy forces using tactics and electronic warfare systems that replicated the most sophisticated threats in the world. Maria flew as wingman to Captain Thompson, an experienced aggressor pilot whose natural flying ability and aggressive tactical instincts had earned him recognition as one of the squadron's most effective combat aviators. Her position in the formation reflected her status as the least experienced pilot, but also provided opportunities to observe advanced tactical techniques while contributing to mission effectiveness through systematic execution of assigned responsibilities. The training scenario included multiple layers of realistic complexity, simulated surface-to-air missile sites that required specific defensive maneuvering, electronic jamming systems that degraded aircraft sensors and communications, and opposing fighter aircraft flown by experienced pilots using tactics designed to replicate the most capable enemy air forces in the world. Viper 4. Maintain formation discipline and stay alert for threats from multiple vectors, Thompson transmitted over the tactical frequency. This exercise includes surprises that aren't in the mission briefing. Maria acknowledged the instruction while conducting systematic scans of her aircraft instruments and threat warning systems, maintaining the comprehensive situational awareness that had characterized her approach to tactical aviation since beginning fighter pilot training. Her methodical monitoring of aircraft systems and tactical environment reflected preparation for complex scenarios where small details could determine survival. 20 minutes into the mission, the formation encountered their first tactical challenge when ground-based radar systems began illuminating the aircraft with targeting signals that simulated surface-to-air missile threats. The pilots responded with defensive maneuvering and electronic countermeasures designed to defeat missile guidance systems while maintaining formation integrity. Maria executed the defensive procedures with systematic precision, following established protocols while monitoring her aircraft systems for any indication of simulated missile launches or radar lock-ons that would require immediate evasive action. Her technical approach to threat response reflected comprehensive training in defensive aviation that emphasized survival through proper technique rather than aggressive maneuvering. Good defensive maneuvering, Viper 4. Thompson acknowledged over the radio. Maintain vigilance. The surface threats are just the beginning of today's scenario. As the formation proceeded deeper into the training airspace, they encountered increasingly complex electronic warfare environments that tested aircraft systems and pilot ability to maintain tactical effectiveness under conditions that simulated the most sophisticated enemy capabilities. Maria's radar warning receiver began experiencing the intermittent signal dropout that Sergeant Rodriguez had warned about, requiring her to rely more heavily on visual scanning and communication with other aircraft. 30 minutes into the mission, the tactical situation escalated dramatically when the formation detected incoming bogies, simulated enemy fighter aircraft approaching from multiple directions with apparent intent to engage in air-to-air combat. The scenario was designed to test pilot ability to transition from defensive maneuvering against surface threats to aggressive engagement with enemy fighters. Viper flight. We have multiple bogies bearing 270, range 40 miles, and closing. Lieutenant Colonel Chun transmitted from his position as flight lead. Prepare for air-to-air engagement using standard tactical procedures. The formation immediately shifted to combat spread formation, with aircraft positioning themselves for optimal radar coverage and mutual support during the engagement that would test every aspect of their air-to-air combat training. Maria maintained her assigned position while conducting systematic checks of her weapons systems and radar equipment. As the opposing forces closed to engagement range, the electronic warfare environment intensified with jamming signals that degraded radar performance and communication systems. Maria's radar warning receiver continued experiencing intermittent dropouts, forcing her to rely increasingly on visual acquisition of threats and coordination with other aircraft in the formation. Viper 4, maintain defensive positioning and be prepared to support the engagement, Chen instructed. Your primary responsibility is flight protection and threat warning for the formation. Maria acknowledged the instruction while maintaining comprehensive scanning of the tactical environment, understanding that her role as the junior pilot required systematic monitoring of threats that more experienced pilots might miss while focused on aggressive engagement tactics. Her methodical approach to situational awareness represented a different but potentially valuable contribution to formation effectiveness. The air-to-air engagement began with beyond visual range missile shots as opposing forces detected each other on radar and began tactical maneuvering designed to achieve advantageous firing positions while avoiding enemy weapons. Maria monitored the complex tactical situation while maintaining her assigned defensive position and preparing to support the engagement as required. Fox 3, Thompson transmitted, indicating he had launched simulated air-to-air missiles at detected enemy targets. The engagement escalated rapidly as multiple aircraft maneuvered for tactical advantage while dealing with electronic jamming and defensive countermeasures that complicated targeting and communication. Maria continued her systematic monitoring of the tactical environment, noting electronic warfare patterns and aircraft movements that formed a complex three-dimensional battle space where multiple engagements were occurring simultaneously. Her methodical approach to situational awareness allowed her to maintain comprehensive understanding of the tactical situation while other pilots focused on immediate engagement requirements. 15 minutes into the air-to-air engagement, the tactical situation became increasingly chaotic as opposing forces closed to within visual range combat, with aircraft maneuvering aggressively while attempting to achieve weapon solutions against highly capable opponents using sophisticated defensive techniques. Maria's radar warning receiver experienced complete failure during a particularly intense jamming sequence, leaving her dependent on visual scanning and radio communication for threat warning. Viper 4, your radar warning receiver is showing no signals, she transmitted to Thompson. I'm operating with degraded threat warning capability. Copy Viper 4. Maintain visual scanning and rely on formation coordination for threat information. Stay alert. This environment includes threats that aren't being broadcast on standard frequencies. Thompson's warning proved prophetic when Maria detected movement in her peripheral vision that didn't correspond to any known friendly aircraft positions. Her systematic visual scanning revealed what appeared to be an unidentified aircraft maneuvering in a position that suggested hostile intent, but her degraded radar systems couldn't confirm the contact or provide targeting information. Viper lead. Viper 4 has visual contact with unknown aircraft bearing 090, approximately 10 miles, Maria transmitted, maintaining the systematic threat reporting procedures that had been emphasized throughout her tactical training. Viper 4, unable to confirm contact on radar. Maintain visual and continue monitoring. Chen responded, his attention focused on multiple simultaneous engagements that were testing the limits of formation coordination and tactical communication. As Maria continued monitoring the unidentified aircraft, her systematic observation revealed maneuvering patterns that indicated the contact was not part of the planned exercise scenario. The aircraft appeared to be positioning for weapons engagement against formation members who were focused on other threats and might not detect the additional danger until it was too late for effective defensive response. Her methodical analysis of the tactical situation indicated that the unidentified aircraft was likely a red air surprise element that had been introduced to test formation ability to detect and respond to unexpected threats during complex engagements. Such surprise elements were common in advanced training exercises and required systematic threat assessment to distinguish from planned scenario elements. Viper lead. The unknown contact is maneuvering into weapons engagement parameters. Maria transmitted with increasing urgency. Recommend immediate defensive action against possible threat from bearing 090. Chen's response reflected the challenge of managing multiple simultaneous engagements while processing threat information from formation members. Viper 4. Maintain observation and prepare to take defensive action if the contact demonstrates hostile intent. Maria continued her systematic monitoring of the unknown aircraft while maintaining awareness of the overall tactical situation. Understanding that her role as formation threat warner required comprehensive situational assessment rather than aggressive engagement focus. Her methodical approach to threat analysis allowed her to detect tactical developments that other pilots might miss during intense combat maneuvering. Suddenly, her systematic scanning detected what appeared to be a missile launch signature from the unknown aircraft, a brief flash and smoke trail that indicated weapons employment against formation members who were engaged with other threats and might not detect the incoming missile until it was too late for effective defensive maneuvering. Viper flight. Missile inbound from bearing 090. Maria transmitted with maximum urgency while simultaneously executing defensive maneuvering designed to defeat incoming weapons while maintaining formation coordination. Her warning came just as other formation members detected the missile launch on their own systems. But the advanced warning provided by Maria's systematic visual scanning allowed the formation to begin defensive maneuvering several seconds earlier than would otherwise have been possible. Those seconds could determine the difference between successful evasion and simulated destruction. The incoming missile appeared to be targeted at Thompson's aircraft, which was positioned closest to the launch point, and presented the most advantageous target for the surprise attack. Maria immediately maneuvered to support Thompson's defensive response while maintaining awareness of other threats that could complicate the tactical situation. Viper 2. Missile tracking your aircraft. Maria transmitted while positioning herself to provide visual confirmation of missile trajectory and impact assessment. Recommend immediate defensive maneuvering to defeat incoming weapon. Thompson initiated aggressive defensive maneuvering designed to defeat missile guidance systems, but the weapon appeared to be maintaining tracking despite his countermeasures and evasive techniques. Maria's systematic observation of the engagement revealed that the missile was continuing to guide toward Thompson's aircraft with accuracy that suggested advanced guidance capabilities. In that critical moment, Maria's methodical analysis of the tactical situation revealed something that more aggressive pilots might have missed. The missile trajectory could be disrupted by aircraft positioned between the weapon and its target, creating false targets that could confuse guidance systems and cause the missile to lose lock on its intended victim. Without hesitation, Maria maneuvered her aircraft into the missile's guidance cone, using precise positioning and electronic countermeasures to create targeting confusion that could defeat the weapon's guidance system while avoiding direct engagement that could result in her own destruction. Her systematic understanding of missile guidance principles allowed her to execute defensive tactics that less methodical pilots might not have considered. The maneuver required splitting-second timing and precise aircraft control, as Maria positioned herself to disrupt missile guidance while avoiding collision with either the weapon or Thompson's aircraft. Her systematic training in defensive aviation provided the technical knowledge necessary to execute complex evasive maneuvering under extreme time pressure. Viper 4, what are you doing? Thompson transmitted with confusion and concern as Maria's aircraft appeared in his peripheral vision during his own defensive maneuvering. Breaking missile lock, Maria replied while executing a complex defensive sequence that combined electronic jamming, chaff dispensing, and precise aircraft positioning designed to create multiple false targets that would confuse the incoming weapons guidance system. Her defensive tactics proved effective as the missile lost guidance lock and detonated harmlessly several hundred meters from any aircraft, defeated by the systematic defensive maneuvering that Maria had executed based on her comprehensive understanding of missile guidance principles and defensive aviation techniques. Viper 4, outstanding defensive work. Chun transmitted with evident relief and professional admiration. That was textbook missile defeat maneuvering executed under combat conditions. The successful missile evasion marked a turning point in the formation's tactical effectiveness, as Maria's systematic threat detection and defensive response had prevented simulated loss of aircraft, while demonstrating capabilities that exceeded her reputation as an overly cautious pilot. Her methodical approach to tactical aviation had proven effective under the most demanding combat simulation conditions. The air-to-air engagement continued for another 20 minutes, with Maria contributing systematic threat warning and defensive support that enhanced formation effectiveness, while demonstrating tactical capabilities that challenged initial assessments of her combat potential. Her systematic approach to situational awareness consistently provided early warning of threats that enabled proactive defensive response rather than reactive emergency maneuvering. As the mission concluded and the formation returned to Nellis Air Force Base, Maria's performance during the complex tactical scenario had fundamentally altered squadron perceptions of her capabilities as a combat pilot. Her systematic approach to threat detection and defensive maneuvering had proven more effective than aggressive tactics under conditions that tested comprehensive tactical competence. Santos, Major Morrison said as the pilots completed post-flight debriefing procedures, that missile evasion sequence was the most technically precise defensive maneuvering I've seen in 15 years of tactical aviation. Your systematic approach to threat analysis saved Thompson's aircraft and possibly the entire mission. Maria accepted the recognition while maintaining focus on lessons learned analysis that would inform future tactical training and mission planning. The key was systematic visual scanning when electronic systems were degraded. Major methodical threat detection enabled proactive defensive response rather than reactive emergency procedures. Lieutenant Colonel Chin's post-mission evaluation reflected recognition that Maria's cautious approach to tactical aviation represented comprehensive preparation for complex scenarios rather than hesitation based on inexperience or lack of aggressive instincts. Santos demonstrated that systematic tactical thinking can be more effective than aggressive flying under conditions that require comprehensive situational awareness and precise defensive maneuvering. Chin noted in his mission report. Her performance challenges conventional assumptions about the relationship between aggressive tactics and combat effectiveness. The mission report continued. Captain Santos' systematic approach to threat detection and defensive aviation resulted in successful missile evasion that prevented aircraft loss while maintaining formation integrity during complex air-to-air engagement. Her methodical tactical thinking enhanced mission effectiveness and demonstrated superior combat aviation capabilities. 3 months after the red flag exercise that had validated her tactical capabilities, Maria was selected for assignment to an operational fighter squadron deploying to a combat theater where her systematic approach to threat detection and defensive maneuvering would be tested under actual combat conditions rather than simulated training scenarios. Her assignment reflected recognition that her methodical tactical thinking represented valuable capabilities for complex operational environments where systematic threat assessment and precise defensive techniques could determine mission success and pilot survival under conditions that exceeded training scenarios. During her first combat deployment, Major Maria Santos' systematic approach to tactical aviation resulted in mission success rates that attracted attention from squadron and wing leadership, with her threat detection capabilities consistently providing early warning that enhanced formation effectiveness while reducing operational risks through proactive defensive planning. Her performance during actual combat operations validated the tactical thinking that had been developed through systematic training and comprehensive preparation, demonstrating that methodical approaches to tactical aviation could produce combat effectiveness that exceeded aggressive flying techniques under operational conditions that tested every aspect of pilot capability. 6 months into her combat deployment, Maria's systematic tactical thinking and defensive aviation expertise resulted in her selection as flight lead for complex missions requiring comprehensive threat assessment and precise tactical coordination under challenging operational conditions. Her promotion to leadership positions reflected recognition of capabilities that had been proven through consistent performance under actual combat conditions. Maria's systematic approach to tactical planning and threat analysis has become the standard for our most challenging missions. Lieutenant Colonel Patterson, her squadron commander, noted in performance evaluations that would influence her future career assignments. Her methodical tactical thinking consistently produces mission success while maintaining safety standards under the most demanding operational conditions. 2 years after the red flag exercise that had changed squadron perceptions of her capabilities, Lieutenant Colonel Maria Santos was assigned as operations officer for an advanced fighter squadron, where her systematic approach to tactical aviation had become the foundation for training programs that integrated methodical threat analysis with advanced defensive maneuvering techniques. Her influence on tactical aviation training extended beyond individual achievement to systematic improvements in pilot education that emphasized comprehensive situational awareness and precise defensive techniques as essential components of combat effectiveness in complex operational environments. The courses she developed integrated systematic threat assessment with advanced defensive maneuvering, providing pilots with comprehensive tactical education that enhanced mission effectiveness while reducing operational risks through methodical preparation and precise execution of defensive techniques under challenging conditions. Today, Colonel Maria Santos serves as wing commander for an operational fighter wing, where her systematic approach to tactical aviation has influenced pilot training programs throughout Air Combat Command, demonstrating that methodical tactical thinking enhances combat effectiveness while maintaining safety standards under the most demanding operational conditions. Her leadership philosophy emphasizes systematic preparation and comprehensive tactical analysis as essential components of combat aviation, producing pilots whose methodical approach to threat assessment and defensive maneuvering reflects her demonstration of how careful thinking becomes decisive action under pressure conditions. The cautious pilot who was criticized for overcalculating became one of the Air Force's most respected tactical aviation leaders, training fighter pilots whose systematic approach to combat flying reflects her validation that methodical thinking and precise execution often determine success when aggressive instincts fail under complex tactical conditions. Major Morrison, who had initially questioned Maria's systematic approach to tactical aviation, now serves as Deputy Operations Officer under her command, implementing training programs that integrate methodical threat analysis with advanced defensive techniques based on lessons learned from her combat performance. Maria taught all of us that systematic thinking isn't hesitation. It's comprehensive preparation that enables decisive action when conditions exceed normal parameters. Morrison reflects in interviews about contemporary tactical aviation development. Her methodical approach made her more effective in combat, not less capable of aggressive action when situations required immediate response. The recognition extends beyond individual career success to systematic changes in tactical aviation training that reflect Maria's demonstration of how methodical preparation enhances combat effectiveness while maintaining safety standards under challenging operational conditions. Her legacy continues through thousands of fighter pilots who have been trained using systematic approaches to threat assessment and defensive maneuvering, producing tactical aviation capabilities that reflect her validation of how careful analysis and precise execution often determine mission success when split-second decisions must be based on comprehensive understanding rather than aggressive instincts alone. The cautious pilot who was told she wasn't made for real combat proved that systematic thinking and methodical preparation provide foundations for tactical effectiveness that complement and enhance aggressive flying techniques, demonstrating that the most decisive actions often emerge from comprehensive analysis and precise execution under conditions that test every aspect of professional competence. 7 years after the red flag exercise that had transformed perceptions of her tactical capabilities, Brigadier General Maria Santos found herself standing in the Pentagon briefing room, where senior Air Force leadership had gathered to address the most significant tactical aviation challenges facing modern air warfare. Her systematic approach to combat flying had evolved into strategic thinking that influenced air superiority doctrine development throughout military aviation communities worldwide. The evolution of threat systems requires fundamental changes in how we approach tactical aviation training. Maria addressed the assembled generals and senior officers, her voice carrying the authority of someone whose tactical innovations had been validated through years of operational success and systematic analysis of combat effectiveness. Traditional aggressive flying techniques, while essential for air-to-air combat, must be integrated with systematic threat assessment and comprehensive defensive planning to maintain effectiveness against increasingly sophisticated enemy capabilities. The briefing room included senior leadership from Air Combat Command, whose responsibility for tactical aviation training and doctrine development reflected recognition that Maria's methodical approach to combat flying had produced results that exceeded conventional training methodologies and operational planning procedures. General Patricia Williams, the Air Combat Command commander whose own tactical aviation background included combat deployments in multiple theaters, had requested Maria's participation in strategic planning sessions that would determine future directions for tactical aviation training and operational doctrine development. General Santos, your systematic approach to tactical aviation has produced measurable improvements in pilot survival rates and mission effectiveness, Williams noted during the strategic planning session. We need your analytical expertise to develop training methodologies that integrate traditional aggressive tactics with comprehensive threat assessment capabilities. Maria's response reflected years of operational experience and tactical analysis that had demonstrated the effectiveness of methodical approaches to combat aviation under conditions that tested every aspect of pilot capability and professional competence. General Williams, the key to effective tactical aviation training is integration of systematic preparation with instinctive response capabilities, Maria replied, using detailed analysis of combat performance data to support her recommendations for training development and operational doctrine modification. Pilots must develop comprehensive situational awareness through systematic training, but they must also maintain the aggressive instincts necessary for decisive action when tactical situations require immediate response without time for detailed analysis. Her presentation included statistical analysis of combat performance that demonstrated superior mission effectiveness and reduced casualty rates among pilots trained using systematic approaches to threat assessment and defensive maneuvering, compared to traditional training methodologies that emphasized aggressive tactics without comprehensive situational awareness development. The data revealed significant improvements in pilot survival rates during complex tactical scenarios where systematic threat detection and precise defensive maneuvering proved more effective than aggressive engagement tactics under conditions that challenged conventional approaches to air-to-air combat training and operational planning. These performance improvements reflect systematic integration of methodical preparation with tactical execution. Maria continued, presenting analysis that showed consistent patterns of superior performance among pilots trained using comprehensive approaches to threat assessment and defensive aviation techniques. Pilots trained in systematic threat analysis consistently demonstrate earlier threat detection, more precise defensive maneuvering, and superior tactical decision-making under conditions that challenge conventional training methodologies and operational planning procedures. General Rodriguez, the Air Education and Training Command commander responsible for all pilot training programs throughout the Air Force, recognized the significance of Maria's analytical findings for future tactical aviation education and pilot development programs. General Santos, your analysis suggests fundamental changes in how we approach pilot training from initial flight instruction through advanced tactical aviation education, Rodriguez noted during the strategic planning discussion. How do we implement systematic approaches while maintaining the aggressive instincts necessary for air-to-air combat effectiveness? Maria's response demonstrated the comprehensive thinking that had characterized her approach to tactical aviation throughout her military career, integrating operational experience with systematic analysis of training effectiveness and pilot performance under challenging tactical conditions. General Rodriguez, effective integration requires systematic development of threat assessment capabilities during initial training phases, followed by progressive introduction of aggressive tactical techniques that build on comprehensive situational awareness rather than replacing methodical analysis with instinctive responses. Her training methodology recommendations included detailed implementation procedures for systematic threat assessment education, progressive tactical scenario development, and comprehensive evaluation criteria that would measure both methodical preparation and aggressive execution capabilities under realistic combat conditions. The strategic planning session resulted in Maria's selection as director of the Air Force's new Tactical Aviation Excellence Center, where her systematic approach to combat flying would be applied to developing training programs that integrated methodical preparation with aggressive tactical execution for pilots throughout Air Combat Command. Her assignment reflected recognition that tactical aviation effectiveness required comprehensive approaches that combined systematic preparation with instinctive combat responses, producing pilots whose methodical analysis enhanced rather than replaced aggressive flying techniques under operational conditions. The Tactical Aviation Excellence Center under Maria's leadership developed training programs that systematically integrated threat assessment education with progressive tactical scenario training, producing pilots whose comprehensive situational awareness enhanced their ability to execute aggressive tactics when combat conditions required immediate decisive action. The goal is not to replace aggressive flying with methodical analysis, Maria explained during the center's inaugural training program, but to enhance aggressive instincts with comprehensive preparation that enables decisive action based on complete understanding of tactical situations rather than incomplete assessment of threat environments. The training methodology she developed included systematic threat detection education, progressive defensive maneuvering instruction, and comprehensive tactical scenario evaluation that tested both methodical preparation and aggressive execution under realistic combat conditions that replicated operational challenges. Initial pilot training using Maria's integrated methodology demonstrated significant improvements in tactical performance, with graduates showing superior threat detection capabilities, more precise defensive maneuvering, and enhanced tactical decision-making under conditions that challenged conventional training approaches and operational planning procedures. General Santos' training methodology has revolutionized our approach to tactical aviation education, noted Colonel Thompson, the center's deputy director whose own tactical aviation background had been enhanced through systematic integration of methodical preparation with aggressive flying techniques. Pilots trained using integrated approaches consistently demonstrate superior performance during complex tactical scenarios, with earlier threat detection and more effective defensive responses that maintain aggressive engagement capabilities while reducing operational risks through comprehensive situational awareness. The success of Maria's integrated training methodology attracted attention from Allied air forces worldwide, resulting in international cooperation agreements that extended her systematic approach to tactical aviation education throughout NATO and Allied military aviation communities globally. Representatives from Allied air forces participated in training programs at the Tactical Aviation Excellence Center, learning systematic approaches to threat assessment and defensive maneuvering that complemented their existing tactical aviation capabilities while enhancing mission effectiveness through comprehensive preparation and precise execution. The integration of systematic analysis with aggressive tactical execution represents a fundamental advancement in tactical aviation training, observed Group Captain Richardson of the Royal Air Force during international training cooperation programs at Maria Center. British pilots trained using General Santos methodology demonstrate measurable improvements in tactical performance, with enhanced threat detection and superior defensive maneuvering that maintains aggressive engagement capabilities while reducing operational risks through comprehensive situational awareness development. Similar recognition came from tactical aviation leaders throughout Allied air forces, with systematic integration of methodical preparation and aggressive execution becoming standard practice for advanced tactical aviation training programs worldwide, based on Maria's demonstration of enhanced combat effectiveness through comprehensive preparation. 3 years after establishing the Tactical Aviation Excellence Center, Maria's systematic approach to tactical aviation training had influenced pilot education programs throughout military aviation communities globally, with measurable improvements in tactical performance and operational effectiveness documented across multiple air forces and combat theaters. Statistical analysis of pilot performance demonstrated consistent patterns of superior tactical effectiveness among aviators trained using integrated methodologies, with earlier threat detection, more precise defensive maneuvering, and enhanced tactical decision-making under challenging operational conditions that tested comprehensive preparation and aggressive execution capabilities. General Santos has fundamentally changed how military aviation approaches tactical training and operational planning, noted General Martinez, the current Air Combat Command commander, during annual performance evaluations that recognized Maria's contributions to tactical aviation effectiveness and pilot training development. Her systematic integration of methodical preparation with aggressive execution has produced measurable improvements in pilot performance and operational effectiveness that exceed previous training methodologies while maintaining the aggressive instincts necessary for air-to-air combat success. The recognition extended beyond individual achievement to systematic changes in tactical aviation doctrine that reflected Maria's demonstration of how comprehensive preparation enhanced combat effectiveness, while maintaining aggressive capabilities necessary for decisive action under operational conditions that tested every aspect of pilot competence. Today, General Maria Santos continues to influence tactical aviation development through strategic planning positions that integrate her systematic approach to combat flying with contemporary operational requirements, ensuring military aviation maintains tactical superiority through comprehensive preparation and precise execution under challenging conditions. Her legacy extends through thousands of pilots worldwide who have been trained using integrated methodologies that combine systematic threat assessment with aggressive tactical execution, producing tactical aviation capabilities that reflect her validation of how methodical preparation enables decisive action when combat conditions require comprehensive understanding rather than instinctive responses alone. The training programs she developed continue to influence military aviation education throughout air forces worldwide, with systematic approaches to threat assessment and defensive maneuvering becoming standard components of tactical aviation training that enhance rather than replace aggressive flying techniques necessary for air-to-air combat effectiveness. Fighter pilots trained using Maria's integrated methodology consistently demonstrate superior performance during operational deployments, with enhanced threat detection capabilities, more precise defensive maneuvering, and superior tactical decision-making that maintains aggressive engagement capabilities while reducing operational risks through comprehensive situational awareness and systematic preparation. Major General Thompson, who had initially questioned Maria's systematic approach during their squadron service together, now serves as Deputy Commander of Air Education and Training Command, implementing training programs that integrate methodical preparation with aggressive tactical execution based on lessons learned from her operational innovations. Maria demonstrated that systematic thinking enhances rather than inhibits aggressive action. Thompson reflects during interviews about contemporary tactical aviation development. Her methodical approach made all of us more effective combat pilots by providing comprehensive preparation that enabled decisive action when tactical situations required immediate response based on complete understanding rather than incomplete assessment. The transformation of initial skepticism into professional recognition demonstrates the lasting impact of Maria's systematic approach to tactical aviation, with former critics becoming advocates for integrated training methodologies that combine comprehensive preparation with aggressive execution under operational conditions that test every aspect of pilot capability. Air Force Academy cadets study Maria's tactical innovations as part of required coursework in tactical aviation development, learning systematic approaches to threat assessment and defensive maneuvering that prepare them for advanced tactical training that integrates methodical preparation with aggressive flying techniques necessary for combat effectiveness. The cautious pilot who was criticized for over-calculating proved that systematic thinking and comprehensive preparation provide essential foundations for tactical aviation effectiveness, demonstrating that methodical analysis and aggressive execution, properly integrated, produce superior combat capabilities under operational conditions that test every aspect of professional competence and tactical expertise. Her story continues to influence tactical aviation training and operational doctrine development throughout military aviation communities worldwide, validating the principle that comprehensive preparation and systematic analysis enhance rather than replace aggressive instincts necessary for decisive action when combat conditions demand immediate response based on complete understanding of tactical situations and threat environments.